Welcome, everybody, to the Evolution Podcast. This is still our Evolution Growth Summit, which started this accidental podcast with my partner, Dinka Salvador, and I. We're super late in Belgium today, so Dinka is taking a break and going to bed. So it's me and somebody I've had the pleasure of knowing here on Skool for a while through some other communities. I've been a member of his community since like OG days, I think, for a while. So I'm super excited to welcome Vatsal Sood to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brendan, and thank you so much for having me here and organizing the whole evergreen calls that you have been doing. I've been watching some of them, and I love how you facilitate and bring out people's stories. So great job there.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So, if
Mm.
you've watched a couple of them, you know that I start these with just one simple yet not so simple question of who is Vatsal Sood?
Very interesting and deep question. Actually, since I watched this a couple of times, I should have prepared the answers, but I did not. But that's okay. I can just ramble on. So, you know me from school, so you probably know me from when I started coaching and everything. So originally, I'm from India. I am from New Delhi, and I immigrated to Canada 14 years ago. So it's been a while. And I came here for my education. I did my master's in computer science. I worked in the corporate industry for a decade. And then I realized, like a lot of us do, that, oh, this is not really my thing. I don't want to do this anymore. Or maybe there is something else out there that I could do. So that's how I discovered public speaking. And I was like, I want to get better at communicating because when I say stuff, it doesn't land well. People don't understand what I'm trying to say. I'm misunderstood all the time and I speak too fast. People are still trying to grasp what I'm saying. And that wasn't very fun, to be in short. Like, I wasn't very happy with that. And I wanted different outcomes and I wanted to be understood, to be honest. That was the core reason. I'm like, I'm just tired of being misunderstood. And that's how I started doing public speaking. And that was during the pandemic. So now it's 2026. So 6 years ago, I started speaking. At first, I was just doing it for myself. I was like, I just want to get better at this. And I kept on getting the reps in. Every week, I was doing speaking. And after 3, 4 years, some people said that you're very good at giving feedback because I started with Toastmasters. So that's where I started. And there is a part there where you evaluate people and give them feedback. And people said that you are very good at giving feedback. You should probably start coaching people on this. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good idea because I do love helping people. And even throughout my computer science career, I was very social. I would get my coding done in like half an hour, a couple of hours. The rest of the time, I would just socialize, try to get people's stories, learn what their lives are like. Because luckily in my city, we get people from all over the world. When I was living in India, it wasn't possible. I mean, it was possible, but when you grew up in a place, then you only have your friends, that your childhood friends, your family. So my circle was pretty much limited there. I still knew a lot of people, but all of them I knew growing up and didn't have the opportunity to know people from wherever in the world. And when I was working in the software industry, I got to meet so many people. And I was just curious because, hey, what was your upbringing like? And what's your life like? And why are you here? So basically, just out of curiosity, I started that. And coming back to the evaluation piece, I'm just pretty blunt, to be honest. I just see something and I say it out loud. I'm like, because it's not a bad thing in my culture. Like, we feel like you have to be honest. That's how you form real connection and bonds. I know it's a little different in Canada. People are very polite and they like saying please and thank you. But whenever I go back home and I chat with my friends, they feel weird when I say please and thank you to them. It's not a thing in my culture. So, yeah, so that's just like a part of what I grew up with. So I was pretty blunt when I was telling people feedback, and they appreciated that because that gave them an opportunity to grow and improve their speaking skills. Because if you are just saying good things about them, they're not learning anything. They come as something and then they leave with the same set of skills. So no growth for them. So that's how I got into coaching. And once I got into coaching, then a lot of doors started opening for me. So it was like the universe was guiding me through this. So I started coaching for speakers in my city for different events. Disrupt HR is a HR event where I spoke first. And then I just hopped onto their team to coach speakers. And then I realized, okay, if I'm coaching people, I should do more speaking gigs. And then I started applying for speaking gigs, and I started to get some speaking gigs. So it's more like I do the gigs, and then people see me, they come to me, and that adds to the coaching part. And then TEDx came to my city, and I started coaching speakers for that. And yeah, it's just growing, man. You know how it is. You see my community, and I share a lot of updates there.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I was just rambling on.
No,
Apologies if I was rambling, but
no, man. I love your story of you leave one culture and where predominantly they're going to speak one way, one tone, one like languages. Every cultures have their different ways of speaking with even body language, right? And then you go to Canada where there's like a mix. You have English, you have French, you have a lot of different languages, and you really found that awareness of like, hey, if I'm gonna fit in communication wise, I should work on my own speech. And then you turn into a freaking speech coach who is helping people with TEDx talks. And that's like a really cool Canadian dream of a story, if you will, um, where you have to learn for you, but now you teach others. What has that experience been like since like you've helped others get on stage and TEDx's and stuff like that?
that experience has been very fulfilling, to be honest, because it opened my mind a lot, to be honest, because when I meet people for TEDx, their stories are just mind boggling. Some people are coming from wars, and some people are coming from a lot of violence, and they had physical injuries that we can't even imagine. So yeah, it's actually very mind opening for me because we all live in our bubbles, our lives, and we don't realize where people are coming from. And and I said, as I said earlier, I like talking to people. I like getting to know their life stories. So that gives me an opportunity to get to know more people. And yeah, basically just realize about that human experience, that how we are so connected. Because even though I grew up in a different country, people grow up in different countries, but sometimes our problems are very similar, like growing up in high pressure situations or suffering losses in our lives, and yeah, getting bullied and stuff, and all those things. Like, it's a very common themes across different countries, I've noticed. So we do think that, oh, that person is from a different part of this world, so their life must be so different. That is true to a certain extent, like, but still. So, for example, I was talking to a guy. He grew up in the States, and he's I forget where he is, in like Texas or something. And he's also very macho and grew up with all that alpha male energy. So that resonated with me too, because I was the same. We all would be like, oh, who's the toughest guy around? Like when we were teenagers, right? So that's how we grew up, and that's very common. I didn't expect that would happen in the States too, because it's thousands of miles away. But yeah, so I find it very fulfilling to meet people like that and have a sense of belonging and community, even though you've never met them, and then learn from their stories as well.
Yeah, really, that resonates with me because we didn't really know what we were doing with this, right? We started out with like, let's have some guests and people we know with great stories and doing this event of like every day, 60 to 90 minutes, talking to people with like really cool stories that just want to help other people. Like I like to say, like we're the podcast of like shining light on everyday superheroes because there's so many people it's just in the world all over, as Skool shows us, like, we have so many connections from all over the world that this summit has shown me, like, man, I learn from every conversation I have. Every conversation me and Dinka have with someone, I go and then, like, I'm doing something different, or I join a new community that teaches me something, or just the connection with, like, having a conversation. And I'm sure as this, not only as a coach, but as much as you listen to speeches, go to events. I'm sure you're at TEDx events a lot. I'm sure the stories you hear impact you just so much.
Absolutely. So that what does for me is so that's the thing with speaking, actually. The When you see some vulnerable stories and you see somebody opening up, the main thing that does is it gives you courage to open up a bit more. So, for example, like last year, I was at a TEDx, and the guy was talking about some sensitive things. I don't know if I should mention that stuff here, but and that gave me. So I don't usually talk about feelings and my traumas and all those things, because I don't know how to. And like, I wasn't in my family, and we were not like talking about sensitive things, and feelings were not really discussed. So, I mean, we would laugh with my friends and everything, but not like deep stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
when you hear people on the stage doing that, and they are like much older than you, so you imagine that their probably mindset would be even more stricter and rigid than my mindset is, and they open up about some deep stuff, then that gives you courage to do the same. And that's the part I like the most about speaking, because once I spoke about topic about like microaggressions, for example, and then I got a bunch of people come to me from the stage, and it was in a smaller city than I'm in right now, and they were like, yeah, people just sometimes say weird stuff to us, and we didn't know how to bring that up, and you brought this up on the stage in front of hundreds of people, so thank you for doing that. And so that gave them the courage to open up and share their experiences. So I think that's the most powerful thing with speaking. It gives people the permission to be themselves, or even more, or speak up more. So that's what I wanted to do in the first place. I wanted to speak up myself. So then through speaking, people are getting the same courage to do so. So yeah, through TEDx, when I see people open up, it gives me ideas. Okay, I should probably talk about this, and maybe somebody will learn something from this. So yeah, that's the core. That's why I love TEDx, because of people super vulnerable, coming from different angles and sharing their life stories, which people don't even do in person. So they're doing it from stages where thousands of people will watch them. I think that requires a lot of courage.
Yeah. One day I want to see school legend Rebecca Martin on a TEDx stage from your community, which we'll get to in a second. I'm curious though, what have you learned about like the power of communication or any lessons about communication? I mean, your story of like immigrant, you got to learn new culture, you got to learn everything. Now you're on TEDx stages. You probably heard thousands of speeches. You've worked with coaches. What have you learned the most about communication?
So I can come at that from my personal point of view. So communication basically changed everything in my life. So it's not that how you talk. I believe that it influences every part of your life. So how you show up in relationships. If your communication is not good, then your relationship might not be the best, because you might say something to somebody, people might misunderstand what you're saying. People might say something, you might misunderstand something, because I feel like when two people are talking, there is this medium between those two people. And once you say the words get jumbled up in that medium. And when people hear it, they have their own biases come into play, and they have their own experiences come into play. So they might build up a different story in their own heads according to the words that you're saying. So I think that's relationships is one example. Workplace is another one, and I don't know, job interviews, wherever you go, like every opportunity is related to communication. Public speaking is speaking from the stages, but it's communication. You have to talk to people in person as well. And if you can talk in front of thousands of people, like talking to one person is not a hard thing. You just have to be in a good mood, I guess. But I believe that your world changes if you are good at communicating. Because negotiation, for example, if you are talking to somebody, and you can negotiate with anybody really, like not just a job salary, or if you're getting a contract, if you're a business owner, you need go negotiations skills. I was reading a book by Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, and he was negotiating with the like, terrorists and stuff to save people. So that he was communicating. And wherever you go, like I go for meditation, there's like a reading session there, and in the reading session they are reading what the old sages. I know Karen mentioned the Dalai Lama, so I'm not talking about the Dalai Lama. I go to a Zen meditation center, and they read the book of this Zen teacher, and he doesn't talk in like simple words. He talks in jumbled up words, and we sit there and we try to make sense of what he's trying to say. Communication is like, okay, what was he saying? Okay. And we all make up different stories according to our mindset and our biases of what the guy was trying to say, because he just talks in weird ways. Not weird, but I guess in his own sage way, which our small minds are not able to understand. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I find communication is very powerful. Also, it's like I'm saying stuff like this, but hardest communication comes with your family. I still try to figure that stuff out. If you go give me a guy like Brandon, like you, I can talk to you all day. But if you bring my parents
Totally.
here, and I'll be like, oh my God, how do I communicate? So
He's like, "How do I say that to mom, though?" Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, what kind of advice do you give new aspiring speakers who like they know they have a story, they could impact people, they want to get on a stage? What kind of things do you tell those people?
So I would just tell them to start getting the reps in as soon as you can, because we build up a lot of stories in our heads. Because for example, when I started talking, I was mainly concerned how people are just focusing on my flaws. Oh my God, he's from India. He has an accent. English is a second language. Why is he talking? And blah blah blah. But nobody cares about that stuff. So we just build up these monsters in our head and we keep fighting them, which are not even real. Usually, people, at least in North America, I know they are quite nice. All the places I've spoken to, nobody has like said anything mean to me. I would just say like get start doing it, and that's why we have Skool. Like we have calls here. I mean, I know you wouldn't mention Rebecca. She has been on my couple of my community calls, and I try to push her to talk as well, and she does talk. She does a great job. So and after that, I'm like, what happened? You did a great job, and you were just being like, it's not a problem to be a shy person. A lot of people are shy, but if you really want to get your message out, then just maybe thinking of the positive intent of people can help. Like sometimes we think that people are judging us, but maybe switching that and thinking that maybe people have a positive intent, they want us to succeed, that
Yeah.
can help a lot. uh, because yeah, when I started, I came from a scarcity mindset as well. I'm like, no, there's not enough opportunities out there, who's going to listen to me, and blah blah blah. But yeah, everybody has different set of experiences, and you never know what resonates with somebody. So yeah, just getting on the stage and start talking.
How many speeches do you think you've done?
So not counting like the professional ones, I did like 13 last year, and unprofessional, like I do, as I said, I do pretty much one every week. So I don't
Hmm.
know, I couldn't count that. I've been doing it for like 6, 7 years now.
Do you find TEDx being a really good avenue for people to get experience? Is it hard to get on a TEDx stage? What is that process kind of like?
Yeah, that is actually quite hard to get on because so from the organizer's point of view, they get like hundreds of applications, and it's very hard for them to pick up the good ones, or which ones might actually help the audience think differently. So usually with TEDx, what we do is we think of, we look at a speech, we think of, okay, how is it going to influence the audience? How are they going to transform how the audience thinks, or how it can help them in their day-to-day lives? So if you're an audience member, and if you could listen to a TEDx talk and do one thing that will improve your life, then we think that that speech is probably a good speech. With the TEDx, the applications are a lot, and some of them are pretty much the same. They think that, okay, we had a rough experience and now we can do a TEDx. But again, there's thousands of those applications. So we just have to make sure that we're coming it and from a different angle somehow. It's very hard to explain, like something that that's not been said before. You can always research. That's what I tell people to do a lot, like go online and research a bit. If there's a topic you want to talk about, see what's already out there and how is your talk going to stand out from it. So that is pretty helpful. And the what and the why of your talk. What are you going to talk about? And what's the story? What's your message? And why should the audience care about it? And answering some of those questions helps a lot. So lots of introspection and coming from a different point of view, because we are all. So, for example, if I am doing a TEDx, I'm only one Vatsal. There's only one Vatsal in the world, and what's different about me? Trying to bring that in the talk is what we are usually looking for. Okay, don't like go with the martyrdom story and oh my God, sob story, and then assume that you're gonna get selected. But sometimes people just come up with small stories and they are quirky and they're funny and they get selected because it's nothing that we have heard of before. So that's what we are looking for. Yeah.
How often are those events?
So like depends on the licensee. We just do it once a year, and if we have like more than that, you can do it more. But as far as I know, people just do it once a year because it's a lot of work to run a TEDx. You need a team to do it. There's the venue, you gotta get it set up, and or applications, judging, and then afterwards you gotta send it to TEDx for approval. Yeah, and make sure that the references are good. There's a lot goes into it. So yeah,
How involved in that process are you?
I was in the organizing committee. I wouldn't say that I was judge or anything, but I was like helping with the venue and running the actual event stage setup and all that stuff. Yeah, and I was a speaker coach as well, of course. So yeah, coaching the speakers for TEDx, and that's actually pretty fun to do as well.
Yeah, but that's perfect segue. You create a bunch of resilient speakers here on Skool, and is
Mhm.
that something you use your community to find people to get ready for TEDx for your coaching? How does your Skool community fit into what you do as a speech coach?
So the Skool community is so if somebody's trying to learn how to speak. There's different levels of speaking. So when people are totally new, they don't know how to speak, so they can get on the community and learn how to speak. And then after you know how to speak, then you can speak for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and go longer durations. And once you're at a stage that you're like, okay, I can talk for however long you want me to talk on a stage, then you go and start finding speaking gigs. And some of them are like paid gigs. That's what I do as well. I do paid gigs. That then the next stage is being a professional speaker. So if you have a business, then you can talk about your business as a professional speaker and get paid for it. So you generate leads for your business, like it's a part of a funnel. It's the top of the funnel where you get all the leads and then make money while you're doing that. TEDx, so the people think that since I'm a TEDx coach, I'll help them get a TEDx. I can, but again, that's a long process. I'm not really putting that in resilient speakers right now. I'm just saying that, okay, I'll help you get better at speaking and we can find speaking gigs together. That's where I can like kind of give them a process to follow. And then, yeah, start speaking, get paid gigs, and then you're a speaker. So I'm mapping them throughout the speaking journey. I'm planning to launch something with TEDx with a clear disclaimer that it takes a while. It's not like you apply to a TEDx tomorrow and you are going to be a speaker, a TEDx speaker. So yeah, and it's like a lot of trial and error. Okay, you applied for this one, you got it, great. If you didn't get it, how can we tweak your application and how can we work on that? So I'm working on that right now, and hopefully I'll create a line like a module in the resilient speakers where I can coach speakers for TEDx as well.
Oh, nice. What's the application process like? Do you write a letter, do video,
For TEDx or for general speaking
TEDx?
gigs? So everybody, like it depends on the organizers. I've heard some of them getting all the applications to a venue and they can all do a audition kind of thing. That's one thing I've heard. What we do is we ask them to send a recording. We don't have time for getting everybody to a venue and have them record the speeches. So we ask the applicants to send us their recordings and then we watch the recordings. And then not by we, I mean the judges. They watch the recordings and that's how they select. Like they do a point system. Like even if you go to any speaking contest, like I've judged a lot of Toastmasters speeches before, so they have like a point system. Okay, this was good. You check off the boxes, and that's how we give them a score. And based on the score, that's how we decide the speakers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
pretty cool. I didn't know much about that process. Thanks for that. Um, so back to your community a little bit. So do you do like group coaching aspects? Are you showing up with people to have them do like practice speeches? What do you kind of events do you do in your community?
Right now, we just started doing this new cohort. So, in which what I do is I hop on a call, I teach them a speaking concept, and then I divide the people into groups and they work on that thing together in groups. So, for example, this week we were talking about getting clear on your message because a lot of people don't know what they're going to talk about and they just ramble on. So, getting clear on what your message is, I gave them a few tips at the beginning of the meeting, 10, 15 minutes. And then we divided the group into teams. Actually, you suggested that idea, which was great. So we did that, and then we went into our breakout rooms, and people brainstormed how they can get better at their messages. I'm planning to do that for the next 3 or 4 sessions, because yes, there are so many speaking skills, to be honest, and I could run one call every week on a skill. So right now it's like a trial and error. So I'll do it for the next month and see how people like it. And at the end of the month, I will have them practice their speeches. So whatever you have prepared, do it in front of the room, and let's see how that goes, because then at least they have a speech, and if somebody asks them to speak somewhere, they'll be like, okay, I have this 5 minute speech that I can do. It can also be an elevator pitch if you want. 5 minutes can be an elevator pitch too. It might be a little long, but yeah. So they will have worked on all these skills together, and they'll have something prepared, and then we can just do it together. And my plan is actually, once they do that, have them give each other testimonials. So maybe if on LinkedIn, if they want to show the organizers that we are good speakers, and how will they show that? They can have testimonials from fellow community members because they have listened to the speech, and that will help them build their brand on LinkedIn or wherever they want to post their videos and get more speaking gigs, basically.
That's what I love about school is that aspect of
Mhm.
community, right? Like it's hard
Mhm.
to stand out or even like get recognition for doing something alone on social media and the metaverse and algorithms these days. But if you have community behind you and you have people that can watch your stuff, leave reviews, hit like, comment, whatever, if you share it out there, I think that's where the world of online marketing, speaking, being recognized for anything is going. Is you have to collaborate. You have to be in community. People lifting um, people up. I love the aspect that I love that you took that idea that we talked about that one day. I love the aspect of the small groups. That's a place where I see school going predominantly is course focus groups, um, small groups of like people meeting up and working on the same stuff, masterminds, if you will, everybody kind of like talking about the same thing, but then going out and like doing something with that, right? Like you're having people, they're not just like discussing, I want to be a better speaker. They're talking in small groups, they're recording stuff, they're watching other people's, engaging. I feel, do you see a lot more growth in those kinda, like, small groups? Yeah.
Yeah, because I come from one point of view and I have some feedback, but when somebody else listens to the speeches, they might have some other feedback. So in the last call, like they gave some really great feedback, other members, and I didn't even think about it, because one guy said that you can go to AI and reverse engineer your speech and see what the audience might be looking for from your speech, and then you can include that in your speech, which I was thought was ingenious because I was like, I didn't even think about that. So it's a great thing. You have a like a cluster brain at that point, like a mastermind, where everybody's giving some amazing feedback. So and then people can improve their speeches from different angles. And yeah, if they start implementing that feedback, and their speeches are going to be amazing. So I think, yeah, as you said, there is a power in school for sure.
Yeah. And, I mean, you've had your community for a little bit now, and I pop in there, I see that you do have people, like, participating, building each other up. I know you had a challenge not too long ago that was pretty awesome where people were, like, working on different things every day and sharing little, like, 5-minute, 2-minute videos. That was cool to follow along with. Do you have other things, like, coming down the, pike in your community that you're doing with your members?
For now, I think I'm probably going to start doing what you're doing here, like get them on a hot seat and interview them, basically, because they're speakers. They all have amazing stories. Some of them talk about creativity, and some of them had went through a really difficult life experiences where they learned how to walk, and they have organs missing and all that. So I won't like get too much into their details, but yeah, some of them have big businesses and they're C-suite, and they have a lot of information to share. So I think the next step I want to do is do a hot seat like you're doing, and just get their name out there. People can learn from them, and learn from each other, while I'm also doing these teams that you're saying. Another thing I'll probably do is like work with them to apply for speaking gigs, because prospecting, so speaking business is a little complicated. It's not like if you're a great speaker, you have a good business. You still have to reach out to people and see if they're interested in hiring you as a speaker, and then you have to get testimonials, speaker reel. There's a lot of things that goes into building a speaking business. So I'm thinking I'll just start doing an additional call, or maybe extend the call that I already have, and help them do some outreach and prospecting so that they can get more on the stages and share their messages. So yeah, it's evolving. Yeah, and it's exciting because a lot of people are participating, and they show up every day, share their stories. Again, I love when people share their stories because that's
Yeah.
where true magic is.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Do you have tiers? Do you have like, you can get this much just for coming into your community? You can show up to these groups and then you get more access, like you said, like maybe help finding speaking gigs and stuff, information.
Yeah, yeah. So right now it's free to enter the community, but actually with the free tier, you also get like the coffee calls. Today's Thursday, right? So today we did a coffee chat where there was a member who showed up, and she was listening to a podcast, which was really interesting about niching down, and how sometimes we use some verbiage in our like in our businesses that might be not so inclusive. So, for example, if people say that I'm a women only business and I only support women businesses, then you're kind of excluding everybody else who might want to support you, who might want to join your community. And that was very interesting perspective because I usually don't use much gender based stuff in my business, but for women you obviously need spaces that are supportive and safe, but also it kind of excludes some people who don't identify with the feminine gender, and they still want to join your program, but since you use that verbiage, they're like, this space is not for us. So sometimes in the coffee hour calls, we get a lot of great information and knowledge that I don't plan for.
Those are
So
the
as
best ones
a
ever. I love those ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so the free tier, you get the coffee calls and access to the community and all the knowledge that people are sharing in the community via the posts. And in the premium tier, that's where we are working on the speeches together. So then there's calls on Tuesdays where again the teams part is happening. And in the VIP tier, we have I have a program. So if people don't have time to go to the calls all the time, and they're like, we want all the information and we want to start working on the speeches right away. They can join the VIP tier and they can access the program and access the Tuesday calls as well if they wanted to work with people. So they have access to the program, community, basically everything. That's what the VIP tier is.
What's included with the program?
So in that I have like a lot of content where talk about a lot of different speaking skills and how to do outreach, and it's basically you can work on that yourself, and you don't have to wait for me to come and tell you what to do. It's a lot self-paced, and you can get a lot of ground covered pretty quickly. If you have time and money, then just go to the VIP and yeah, just start like absorbing as much information as you can absorb, and then just start applying for the gigs. And if you have questions, you can always hop on the calls and ask me the questions. So win-win situation everywhere there.
Yeah, yeah, I love how you have the different offers for everyone's that because like me, I'm one of those like I don't want to wait once a week. Like let's give me the I want to go through this stuff and get this figured out. So I would be one of those people. And then there's other
Mm.
people who need pacing, right? And they can't take everything all at once or go for it because of scheduling or timing or whatever.
Mm.
So I love that you have different offerings in your community. Like I think you're at like close to 300 members and you have a really active community. You have people that are implementing stuff. That's what I love so much. You don't have to have 30,000 members in a community to have it be viable and have it to be something that's super impactful. And I see your community as one of those. I always see people working on stuff, sharing stuff they're doing, which for a lot of people, and maybe you can jump in on this. What I see, and a little bit for me in the beginning of this journey a couple years ago, not so much now, but what I see is that bigger hurdle is getting on camera, hitting record, wondering what people are going to think. Oh, this person's going to judge me because of this and that, and I said that wrong. And over editing and just overthinking the whole process of even speaking. So now they're not focused on the speech, the content of the speech, or how they're speaking. They're focused on everything else. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because that was a problem with me as well. You can put me in front on stages and I can talk, but if you ask me to talk to a camera, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up with the phone in my hand, right? So it's very awkward for me to talk to a camera. But thanks to the community, I was encouraging people to do it. So I'm like, if I'm telling people what to do, I gotta do it myself. And once you give me no options, I'll do what you're telling me to do. So I just recorded a video in a superstore today and I'm about to post it. But if you asked me a few years ago to open a camera and start talking in a superstore, I would be like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I would be like, yeah, no, that's stupid. People do that stuff. And now I'm like, that's
Yeah.
just like, the walls that you build to protect yourself, right? So just like the stories you're telling yourself. But with the community, that's the great part. When you see like 10 other people doing the same thing, you are not so scared anymore. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't care if you don't like my video on Instagram. I have a whole community of people who support me what I'm doing here.
Exactly.
So
That's a beautiful part. When you get close to people, you can they don't care about your mistakes. They don't you only have a community listening and stuff. They don't care about certain things. But even like when the record comes on this, like I talk to those people all the time, right? I'm on Facebook. I put myself out there. Not really, I'm unapologetically me. But now, since this became a podcast, and Dinka just like overnight has us on Spotify and Apple and YouTube and now Pinterest this week randomly. Apparently, that's the 2026 podcast place to go. Heather Coffin, our digital marketing guru, said that the other day in a call. But when that record goes on, all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, was that question stupid?
mhm.
What, wait, what they just, I should, and it's like, why, where does that stuff come from? No one else is watching. There's four people on this call, right? We open these up live, but I don't have an audience of 40,000, but knowing it's eventually going to go everywhere gets in my head when I talk on camera all the time. So, I mean, it probably still happens to you, right? When you jump on a stage, you're probably still like, "Oh, you gotta how do you fight through those moments?"
Yeah, that's a very good point. It used to happen before, but from my experience in speaking, I find the more my stuff is less performative, the better it does. So, for example, the microaggression speech I was talking to you about, it was the most viewed speech in that industry for like 3 months because I was coming from a place of authenticity and I wasn't looking to perform or anything. So when I do stuff like that, it resonates with people a lot more than all the polished stuff that I do. Okay, I've got to have my opening this way and my body is going to be like this. And when I say body, I mean speech body. And my ending is, or you can check me out as well. That's fine. But when we just talk without thinking much, that stuff usually does a lot well better than when you are trying too hard to improve your things. And that's what actually has been my theme this year. I'm like, I'll just put whatever on YouTube because some people say YouTube is the place to go to. I don't know what's the right platform, but some people say go to YouTube or TikTok, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. I'll just put whatever I have on YouTube, and we'll see how it goes. Because before I would be, if you asked me this a couple of years before, I would be like, oh my God, I gotta make this perfect. I had those teleprompters and I was reading stuff from teleprompters and trying to make it perfect with the lighting and everything. I didn't even get started for the longest time because I was like, the lighting's not perfect. And today when I came in, I was like, I'll try this orange and white light and see how that goes. Because I was like, this is how I'm going to learn. If it doesn't go well, it's a lesson for next time. I won't do it, but at least I won't be stuck in that analysis paralysis part, and I'll still make some progress because the worst part is when you get stuck and you don't do anything. And even if you don't have a good video or a good speech, the world doesn't end. You can still like go back tomorrow and do another rep and get another podcast episode in and get another speech in. So it's yeah, not like all or nothing that if you are made a one small mistake, then the world's gonna hate you. And no, like I'm sure you're not gonna say really offensive or stupid stuff. No, normal people don't say stuff like polarizing things that are offensive to people. So you are totally fine. Like most of the people are genuinely nice and they just are coming from their life experiences. Uh, so yeah, to answer your question, it's just about if you are being authentic, trying to tell your story more without fearing what the audience is going to say. Because again, we think that everybody is listening to everything that we are saying or doing, but most of the people are not. They're lost in their own words.
It's
Yeah.
crazy how our brains think we're so important. Like, we'll walk in the grocery store and be like, "Oh, what does that person think of my what I'm wearing and stuff?" That person has their own life, right? Like, you are not that important. Most of the time, the people we're worried about judging us, they have their own stuff going on, and they do not. They're not worried about us. They're just not. We're worried about us, and that's a problem. Little hot take from me on something you brought up. Um, as far as like getting out speeches, in my opinion, business style stuff, communities, YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. Social media is a bunch of people that are in the grocery store, in the line at Dunkin' Donuts, and they're scrolling, trying to get that person to stop and care about what you have to say. Not a chance. But YouTube is where people go for solutions. People search, how do I become a better speech coach? And then there it is. There's Vatsal right there, right? With a video saying, "Hey, this is how you become a better speech coach." So for me, YouTube is number one. Social media, these days I run, I post links and I'm on Skool. But YouTube for me, for getting stuff out there. If you want a message to be heard, if you want somebody to find you in a school community, on your ClickFunnel page, in your website, go to YouTube because that's where people are going to actually search for you. You have to stop them on social media. You have to go, wait, person scrolling 500 reels an hour, stop and listen to me. No, good luck.
Yeah, just start playing with those hooks and all the mind games that you can play with them. I don't have time for that.
No, not at all. So, what's in line for Vatsal, resilient speakers, TEDx speeches? What do you got going on in the next this year, 2026? What's it looking like for you?
So everything is ramping up, which I'm excited about. This year, I have a couple of gigs already signed up. Anyways, so I'll go with my speaking business first, and then I'll go back to the community. So with speaking is again getting the reps in. Even if you are a speaker, at first you are like nervous going to different places and speaking. So I want to do like more international gigs and go to different countries and start doing that more because I've done a lot of local stuff, and even in different provinces in Canada, I've done speeches. But like, it's taking that next step where you to get on a flight and go to like the States, for example, or go to Europe somewhere. You still have to get used to it because even though you might be a speaker, you'll still get anxious because everything is new. It's a new country. You don't know how the audience is going to respond. So for me, I want to get more used to that because every time I do that, I still get stressed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so freaking out and I'm so tired for no reason. That's just my mind over on overdrive. So for me, once I get used to that, then I can ramp up the speaking gigs. So for example, if I'm doing 15 right now, I can do like 30, 40, and 50 speaking gigs like that. I know people, some of them do like hundreds of speaking gigs. I don't know how. My goal is probably not to do hundreds of them because then I won't have time for school. Uh, but yeah, getting used to that and then slowly increasing my speaker fee. That's where I'm going towards. And so speakers also have speaker reels where we have like showcase reels for ourselves. So getting better at that. So basically, generic speaker, professional speaker stuff to get better at that. And with Skool, it's like growing, as you said, which is great. And basically improving the membership and getting more and more people in there and seeing how I can better serve them basically because a lot of them are just following the footsteps that was in 5 years ago and basically helping them get more on stages because I didn't know how to communicate a long time ago and I know how that feels. It's not a good feeling. If I can help them get better at getting their messages clear or get more stages, that's why I started this. That's why I show up every day. It's not like a work thing for me. It's just like just makes me happy. It's easier for me. So yeah, just ramping it up, having more and more people. I want to see 1,000 people in resilient speakers. That's what my goal is for now. It'd probably be more than that eventually, but yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but I'll
Yeah,
probably add more calls.
that was great,
Yeah.
man. Honestly, um, hey, the summit effect, I'm sure you'll pick up some members here soon in Resilient Speakers. We've seen it every time we have a guest that has a community, and that was kind of the point of this. I think Iris is going to be one of them if she not already is. It's kind of the point of this event is to shine lights on people who are impacting others, affecting others. You're putting people on stages to tell their stories. You're definitely one of those people. I really appreciate you jumping on here and talking about your story, your community. I've known you for a little bit and I didn't know a little bit of your story. So that was awesome. And I really thank you for coming on the podcast.
No, thank you so much. And yeah, I saw Iris like reacting and constantly. So nice to meet you. I don't know if I can talk to people here, but yeah, this is a webinar, eh? That's what you're doing?
Yeah,
Is
it's a
School webinar?
webinars. We
Okay.
take people out, but that's a fun little part of the Skool doing this podcast on Skool is we get emojis.
Yeah, that's amazing. I need to try this too. But yeah, thank you so much for organizing it. It was great.
Yeah, not a problem, man. And so the last little bit of this, Dinka usually picks a card, the oracle card from her deck, and but she sent me. She does it for every guest, and she sent me what she picked since she wasn't going to be here. And you got the Lord card, which says "Take charge with authority." So if that
Mm.
resonates with you, I think that's kind of cool. I feel like in your life you took charge with authority on, hey, I don't communicate great. Let's fix that. And I'll look at you.
No, I love that because even though I'm a speaker, I do have a lot of self-doubt sometimes because I see all these out of the world speakers. I'm like, wow, how do I get like, for example, Brene Brown or people like that, right? When you see speakers like that, I'm like, oh my God, how do I get to their level? And then the self-doubt creeps in, and sometimes I don't take action. But I really love the card because there's always where place where you can take charge and be more self-assured, like, okay, you're a good speaker, you're part of the it's part of the journey, and you're constantly getting better. You'll get there. You just have to keep working on it and be more confident in yourself. So I think I can just say tell that to my whole community as well. I think everybody can use it.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Use
It's
it,
a
use
shame
it.
it's a shame I didn't
Um,
get to meet Dinka though. Like I see her name everywhere, but I haven't spoken to her. So
yeah, we'll have to make that happen sometime. I'll have to tell her to
yeah.
come join your community.
Mhm.
And since it's the evolution podcast, I end all of these episodes with the same question. What does evolution mean to you?
Ah, evolution. So I was thinking about the caterpillar and the butterfly. So that's evolution for me because we all live in our shells for the longest time, and something happens that, for me, it forced me to get out of my shell and become the butterfly and start spreading my wings and step into speaking because yeah, I should have gotten into this at the beginning of the podcast, but growing up my situation wasn't the best, so I wanted to improve my life, and I was kind of forced to come to Canada almost. So that's why I immigrated, because my life was pretty good, but there was some serious troubles. Well, that's probably another podcast, but
I was going to say that
yeah.
might be. I think we just teased a sequel episode.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Again, since other speakers have given me courage to talk about these things, I will eventually. And I think I've spoken about it, not on a stage, but other podcasts. I'm happy to do a sequel. But
Yeah,
yeah, so from a caterpillar to a butterfly, that would be get your wings flapping.
I like that, man. And you definitely the epitome of that story. And
Mhm.
again, thank you so much, Vatsal. Thanks, Iris, Rebecca, for coming live. If you guys are watching this on the recording, let's show them some love. Resilient speakers on Skool. It's a great community. I've been a part of it for a while now. Come join. And thanks for listening to the podcast. Give us a follow on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and now this week, Pinterest. Have a great day, guys, and never stop evolving.
Thanks for having me. Bye.